It never made it all the way up. I have $0 in it right now. I have lost everything. Okay, when people say they lost everything in the stock market, this is what they mean. I lost everything. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I am Patience, and in today's video we are talking about my best and my worst investments ever. Maybe worse than best. Let's do that. Let's do the worst first and then we'll do the best. While there is a potential to grow your money while investing in individual stocks, there's also the potential to lose money, and that's why I do not invest a lot of money in individual stocks. Especially now, I mostly focus on index funds, but in the past I have invested quite a bit, not too much, in individual stocks. Some of them panned out, some of them did not, and so I'll be going over some of my investments. So if that and more financial topics is just what you need in your life, be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Just before we get into it, a lot of these investments were not big investments. I personally would not invest more into individual stocks that I'm willing to lose. When it comes to stocks, the potential for a stock to go really high, over 10, 20, 30, 100%, is there, but there's also the ability for it to tank, especially if it's not an established company. And so when I was going into this, I was doing all different kinds of companies. So even though I did different individual stocks, I was also making sure to diversify, so all my money was not in one stock. And you would see that that was a great decision because some of these sucked. Okay, give you 10 of my worst stocks and then we'll go into 10 of my best stocks, because for me, I like to get the bad news first before the good news. Also, I'm not going to mention the dollar amount, but some of these were very small. A lot of it was as low as $20, some $50, some $100. So it's not like I'm pouring so much money into one stock and then losing it. I'm still mad that I lost money. I'm not too mad because I already knew going in that individual stocks are a risk. And if your hearts cannot take these up and downs, be sure to stick to index funds. I mostly do index funds anyway. Just before we go into it, I did invest in more than 20 individual stocks, but I just picked my 10 worst and then my 10 best. A lot of these investments were made in 2021, so they've had time to grow. The thing is, I did not continuously buy in. So some of them I just bought it, let's say summer of 2021, and that was it. I never bought it again. I just didn't sell it. There's only like one exception to this, but I did start investing summer of 2021 and then not for a while, and then I did a little bit more here and there. It's still not like a substantial amount of money that if I lost, I would hate to lose it. My livelihood would not like be devastated. This individual stock is more so something that I keep around to see and look at companies I'm interested in, but I don't know if I'll continue to do this in the future. I might be ready to sell and just like cut my losses and gains and be done with it. Let's go straight into these. I'm going to start with the top 10 worst, like I said, but I'm going to go from like the lowest worst to like the worst. Okay, so coming in at 10th worst is Target. So my Target went down 43%. I made the initial investment somewhere in 2021, probably summer to late 2021. It wasn't a lot of money, but it performed so bad. It decreased 43%. And here's the wild part, like Target was doing well. I think I even first invested like $20 and it was doing so well. I added like another like 50 to 100 bucks to it because it was doing so good at the beginning, and then it started to tank, and then it tanked, and then it tanked, and now we are at negative 43%. I'm mad. Okay, the reason I invested in Target was because I shop at Target, so I'm like, okay, like I typically buy companies that I use and I think they're good companies. So Target was one of those companies, but it did not pan out. Following closely behind is the, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Baidu stock. So I bought this again around the same time. Most of these were in summer 2021. And it went down 44.64%. Let me tell you again, another big disappointment. What do you expect when you're doing individual stocks? So let's go from bad to even worse, because the next one is Intel. Yes, I bought the Intel stock around the same time and it went down 62.13% to date. Okay, when I tell you this was such a huge disappointment, a lot of my stocks are tech stocks because I am an engineer, so I do invest in a lot of tech companies. Intel was one of the companies that I did believe in. You know, it's almost like the Cisco too big to fail kind of thing, and Intel was high, but I did see a decline, and now it just looks like it's not doing well. So the stock now has since I bought it anyway. Another stock that was doing really well in the beginning, and I think I added a little bit more money to it, but then it tanked, was Alibaba. Alibaba went down 66%. And I remember when I invested in it, people were thinking, oh my God, this stock is going to do great because of all the people who are purchasing from the site. Well, whatever it is, nobody's buying the stock anymore because it's tanking, okay? It's tanking. So 66% in the negative. Another tech stock that also tanked is Twilio. People are talking about this company, so much potential. It tanked. Negative 66% since summer 2021. And then let's go to one of my biggest disappointments. Like, this company disappointed me so much. Etsy, the marketplace that people thought would have a rise. I use Etsy and I've used it to purchase from small businesses. It's almost like an Amazon, but a smaller, supposed to be more ethical, catered to small businesses. And so when I bought this stock, I actually liked it so much that I put more money into it. I don't think it was more than $200, but it tanked. It tanked. Like, it was doing so good. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so much potential. And then it tanked. Negative 77%. Whew, when I tell you, I'm so glad I did not invest a lot of money into this company. Because had I followed what I thought was going to happen, nope. Another company that I bought into that tank was Rackspace. I don't know what made me buy this stock. I think I was just like looking through like growing companies and trying to look at companies that had potential to grow, especially after, you know, the panini. This was one of the companies listed, but yeah, it tanked. Since I bought it, it's now negative 81.77%. This is why you don't purchase more than you can afford to lose when it comes to individual stocks. Imagine if I put in a lot of money that I actually needed. I'll be down bad at this point. Okay, let's move on to the 8th company. It's getting worse and worse. So the 8th company is NIO. I don't know how they pronounce that, but this symbol is also NIO. And this company is tanked since I bought it for negative 87.16%. Oh, when I tell you this was bad, but I didn't invest a lot of money. I think less than $50 in it. A lot of these investments were very small anyway. I was very disappointed. I thought this company was going to grow, skyrocket, and maybe it's doing well, like its annual revenue, but it's not being seen in the stock market. Very huge disappointment, but not more than Moderna. Okay, Moderna was one of those companies that I thought was going to do well. I think I also was invested in Johnson & Johnson. It went down, but not enough to like fit in this top 10. But Moderna was one of those companies I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to do so well. No, negative 90%. To be specific, 90.2% in the negative. Glad I did not invest a lot of money. I think it was less than $50 as well that I invested into this company, but it tanked. I have lost almost everything. It cannot compare to the next company, which I asked a friend for recommendations when I was first starting, and he gave me this company that he had invested in. I hope he sold his stock before I did, because I was holding on. I'm investing for the long term. Well, I don't care if you're investing for the long term, short term. This company was not going to ever do anything. This company is not coming back because I have lost 100% of the money I invested into Tattooed Chef. And not that the stocks were that expensive. I think at the max I had maybe 2 stocks in the company, and that was less than $50. But when I tell you this company was doing okay at the beginning, and then it started to go down and down. At one point I had like 1 cent in there. It was so bad, but I was like, you know what, let me hold on. Let me just hold on. Maybe something can come out of this. No, that company's dead now. It's dead. I think they might still be around, but their stock is dead. And I did not just invest it because a friend said they were investing in it. I actually researched it, and it was one of those companies that were like, oh yeah, it's coming up. It's up and coming. It never came up. It never made it all the way up. I have $0 in it right now. I have lost everything. Okay, when people say they lost everything in the stock market, this is what they mean. I lost everything. But this is why it's important to diversify what you invest in, because had I put all my money into Tattooed Chef because they said it was a growing company with so much potential, I would have $0 of whatever money I invested. Even though I lost a lot of money in these, ranging from 40 to 100%, those were not all the companies I invested in. I invested in other companies that also grew. So as much as I've lost, I've actually gained more. So let's go into my top 10 best investments that I made. And these were also purchased around the same time, summer 2021. So the first company is one that I actually lost hope to and I wanted to sell, but glad I did it. It was Delta. I think I only invested about $50 in there, but it has gone up 40.16% since I purchased it. And the reason I purchased the Delta stock is because I fly Delta. I'm a Delta Sky Miles member, and I really like the airline. Sometimes they can be difficult, but overall, I like to travel with them domestically, internationally. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put my money where I fly. So I invested in a company. At one point, it was tanking. For actually a couple of years, it was tanking. But as of today, and the filming of this video, it is up 40% since I purchased it. Now let's make a huge jump to Apple. I purchased the Apple stock because I bought my first MacBook. I didn't have any Apple stocks prior to this, and at one point this was the company I was most heavily invested in. I had a few $100s invested in Apple, and since then it is up 63.84%. Like, for me, this is a long-term hold because I use Apple products. I did decide that I'm going to invest in companies that I actually use and believe in. I ended up buying a second MacBook and I switched my phone to the iPhone. And because I use their products and because I believe that I will be using their products in the future, I also believe in a company. So I just don't purchase their products. I purchase a stake in them. It's one stock that has been fairly stable for several years, and I see the growth and the potential, so I'll continue to be invested in there. Another company that I did research on, and I had high hopes for this company, as I did every company I purchased into. It's not like I was just wasting money, but I never expected it to grow this much, which is SAP SE. Since I purchased it, it's gone up 76.2%. And this is amazing. I didn't invest a lot of money in there. I probably had like less than $50 in there. Like I keep saying, I do not have a lot of money in each individual stock. They just add up to a lot more. But this growth is so great. And it's a company that is not very popular for the average person. But as I was researching tech stocks and companies, this was one that had really good numbers, and I decided to go with it, and it paid off. Number 4 was one that I purchased because of a class that I took. I took VLSI design, and I also took a senior design class where we're learning about semiconductors. So if you don't know, I'm an electrical engineer, and I know how important semiconductors are to our world. Whether it's your phone, cars, plane, everything needs semiconductors. And the country that produces the most amount of semiconductors in the world is Taiwan. And because of that, I started searching for semiconductor companies to invest in. And that's how I came across Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, TSM, and it was an amazing investment. In fact, since I purchased this, again, 2021, it's up 75.11%. This was such an amazing buy, and I really believe that semiconductors are not going anywhere, and so it's a fairly stable company to be invested in for a long term. Moving on was Lidos. I hope I pronounced it right. So this is a company that produces a lot of technology for like the airport, the TSA. It was actually a company that I was interested in working for. I did look into them. I ended up deciding it wasn't the best fit for me, but I liked their products. I saw that their market is very large, and so I decided to invest in it. And since I invested, it's up 77%. This has been a great company to be invested in. The next company was an unlikely one because a lot of people thought the big part of the growth has bypassed, and when I purchased it, I didn't have too much faith in it, so I didn't put a lot of money in it, and that is Meta, or what used to be Facebook. I think I had less than $50 in it. I never put any more money, but it was a great investment because it's been up 79.57%. And this was one of those companies that when I purchased, I thought it would grow a little stable here and there, but I didn't expect this great of a growth. Not to mention that at first it was tanking, like real bad. Really bad, to the point where I wanted to sell it, but I did not sell it. I wanted to hold on, do a study long term to see how companies and individual stocks performed overall. Okay, now we're getting to top 4, and all of these companies are elite. I personal reasons why I invest in these companies. I really truly believed in them, and honestly, if I could go back, I would put all my money into all these 4 companies. But it was good just knowing all of the others. Okay, it was nice to meet you. All of them I'm proud of, even the ones that I lost. It was a lesson learned. But these top 4 companies, oh my goodness, I'm going to tell you how I got to them. So my 4th best investment was Costco. And actually, I invested probably a little bit more money into Costco than most of my other stocks. That was because I love Costco. Okay, I love Costco as a company. I went to Costco all the time. Since I was a teenager, we used to shop at Costco. I've heard great things about how they treat their employees, their philosophies, the time that they close. I just think Costco is a great place to buy in bulk. I buy bulk all the time. And because of that, I wanted to invest in a grocery store that I went to all the time. My family goes to Costco. A lot of my friends go to Costco. So I decided to purchase not just their food products, but also their stock. And to this day, it's growing 93.2%, which is such a huge amount of growth. And I actually canceled out a lot of the losses that I've had. So even though I've had all those losses, the gains can be really, really, really good. 3rd best investment is Walmart. And the reason I invested in Walmart was because I also go to Sam's Club. I go to Walmart and shop Walmart online, but I now go to Sam's Club almost twice a month to go purchase as well. So I go to Costco, I go to Sam's Club, and I decided to invest in them since I'm going. I think they have some really great products, and I see myself going to their stores for a very long time. And it was also a great investment because it is up 102.93% since I purchased this stock. When I tell you it's been such a great investment, it's been great. So even though I lost 100% on Tattoo Chef, I gained over 100% of my investment in Walmart. Now let's go to top 2. Number 2 is Oracle. Oracle is another one of those companies that when I was searching, looking at potential, they were mentioned in several articles. Their financials look good, their revenue look good, and I decided, you know what? I want a piece of that. So I invested in Oracle. Probably not enough because I wish I had invested more into them. Since I purchased their stock, they are up 114%. When I tell you this was such an amazing investment, I can't even tell you why. Well, 114% should tell you why. So if I invested, for example, $100, I made $100 and then some, and I still have my original investment. That's so great. Okay, now let's move on to the number 1. If you know me in my personal life, you know this company because I was so hyped for this company in 2021. And somehow I should have stayed on course. I wish I'd invested more then. I wish I had even all of the money I invested into this company. I was just really scared to put all my eggs in one basket. It is NVIDIA. NVIDIA has been the best single stock I have ever invested in. And I first purchased NVIDIA when it was about $150, $170. At first I didn't have a whole stock, but then I purchased a little bit more and a little bit more here and there. And then last year I purchased a little bit more as well when it was going up. And I think my last investment I made was earlier this year. So out of all of my other investment, NVIDIA probably has the most amount of money that, I would hate to lose because I put quite a bit in there. Very far gap between this one and the next company. This is probably my biggest investment, with my second biggest being in Apple and Costco. But yeah, it turned out to be absolutely amazing. And then when the stock split, I ended up getting even more stocks. So one of the stocks that I purchased for less than $170 went up to be worth over $1,000 before the split. Can you imagine? Over $1,000. So had I put in more money, hindsight is 2020. Well, maybe I should have purchased it in 2020, but it doesn't matter. I'm really happy for all of it. So in total, it's up over 119%. And that's not even telling the real story because I did end up purchasing some later this year. Originally, it was even way more because of when I purchased it, but because I ended up purchasing more, less here and there, it ended up just diluting the percentage. For example, like that one stock that I purchased for $150 was worth well over $1,000. That's such a huge percentage. That's hundreds of percentages. But because I ended up later purchasing more at a higher price, it diluted it. I'll say the first couple of stocks that I purchased made well over 500%, and then later I invested a little bit more. But those are my numbers. I didn't share specifics because I don't like to go too in detail in my finances, but I wanted to show you why I am hesitant to do single stocks, because while the gains are high and there's potential, the losses can also be devastating, especially if you cannot hold on for the long term. Quick story by NVIDIA. When I purchased it, it was doing okay, and then it started to tank. So all of 2022, NVIDIA was pretty much down. It did not gain a lot. So most of the gains that I made in 2021 ended up mostly losing. Purchased more, but who knew what was going on? Tattoo Chef had tanked real bad, so I wasn't trying to make any more purchases. I had other goals in 2023, paying off my car, earlier this year, especially doing a lot of savings. So because of that, I wasn't trying to invest more than I was willing to lose. But essentially, it started picking back up in 2023. And since then, it's become like a monster in the best way possible for the S&P 500, for those of us who held the stock. But if you do not have the ability to stomach this, do not force yourself, you all. It is okay to do index funds. So if you're done index funds, you'll be able to tap into a lot of these companies that I mentioned in my top 10. I think basically all of them are in the S&P 500. So you're able to still get the gains, especially with NVIDIA. So a lot of people are mad that they didn't purchase the NVIDIA stocks. If you have the S&P 500, essentially benefited from the gains in NVIDIA. Maybe that's drastically as if you actually held the stock, but you still benefited a lot. And that's why we saw such gains in the stock market last year and this year, is because of the gains in NVIDIA, the gains in Meta, the gains in Apple and Walmart. They all are in the S&P 500. Okay, so I have shared probably the most I've ever shared in my finances. And so let me know down in the comments section your thoughts on individual stocks. Do you own any, or what was your biggest loss or your biggest gain? Do you have any regrets, whether you purchased an individual stock, maybe you did not purchase an individual stock that ended up doing well? Let me know. This is my, and going into the new year, I look to do more financial content. And that's it. So thank you all so much. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you all again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.